Hello, and welcome to Hellhound's Midnight Spook Show. And this time it is actually almost midnight, so I guess that works. Tonight I wanted to talk about one of my favorite horror slasher films, Alone in the Dark, from 1982, directed by Jack Sholder, who also did Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and The Hidden. He also directed Wishmaster 2, I believe. So he's done some pretty good movies, and this is definitely probably his best work. Either this or The Hidden. It's a close one. Very good movie. Highly recommend it, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it's so great. Basically, Dr. Dan Potter, played by Dwight Schultz, gets a job at a mental asylum run by Dr. Leo Bain, played by my man Donald Pleasence, one of my favorite actors. Dr. Loomis, Blofeld. I just love that guy. He's just always great. He has kind of a smaller part here, but he always manages to make every scene he's in particularly memorable, as always. Dr. Potter's the new guy in the asylum, and then some of the inmates don't trust him. They think that he might have murdered their former psychiatrist, and so they take an immediate disliking to him, and they want revenge on him for what their twisted minds perceive as some kind of betrayal. So during a power outage, a blackout actually, the whole asylum's run by electricity. So during a blackout, 4 of the inmates escape. And they would be Frank Hawks, played by Jack Palance, who's basically a paranoid former POW and kind of a leader of the 4. Also, Byron Sutcliffe, who's played by Martin Landau, who looks a lot like Jim Saito from the first 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and is a pyromaniac former preacher. And then there's also Ronald Elster, a obese child molester. He's kind of like the muscle of the group. He's like really strong. And kind of childish. And then there's Tom Skaggs, a.k.a. the Bleeder, who's basically a homicidal maniac who covers his face. He's kind of like a typical slasher villain. He's always like hiding his face in the shadows. He's mostly silent. He hardly ever talks, and he wears masks too. Most notably, a hockey mask in one scene. So it kind of makes you think of Jason a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So those are the 4 villains. We have the pretty interesting quartet of villains, and so basically they're targeting Dr. Dan Potter at his home. They torment him and his family, his wife and his 2 daughters, and that's pretty much the premise of the movie. Now, I think with this movie, it's definitely not your basic generic throwaway slasher film that's just a good way to kill 2 hours. I actually find this one really, really compelling, very well done, well directed, well written, well acted, just great all around, very interesting, very compelling, very intricate. Very fun to watch, but still, you still find yourself very invested in the story. I really felt for Dr. Potter. I wanted to see him and his family, come through. I wanted to see them fight back against these maniacs. And I love how the maniacs were all kind of fleshed out and given their own personalities. Of course, Jack Palance and Martin Landau are both great actors. They're both legends, and they excel in this movie. They both play a different type of freaky psychopath. And it's pretty cool how all 4 inmates have like their own personalities, and their own unique form of evil. The former reverend who likes to set fire to things, and then Frank Hawks, Jack Palance's character, who is kind of the leader, and he's paranoid, and he's always got this crazy look on his face. And I hate the fat pedophile, of course, because I hate child molesters. I think that's like the worst thing you can be. I think those are the lowest of the low. They're worse than murderers and rapists. Only by a little bit, though. I hate anything to do with like child abuse. So I loathed his character, but he's a villain. So you're rooting against him anyway. And then of course the Bleeder, who as I said, is kind of like a slasher villain. He was pretty interesting, and he has nosebleeds, and that's how you can tell it's him. And he disappears kind of early on, and then nobody knows where he went. So it's kind of a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a whodunit there, because he might be one of the main characters hiding among the cast, trying to be normal, or not. I'll never tell. I won't spoil it, but of course, as I said, Donald Pleasence is always fun to watch. He plays kind of a similar role to Dr. Loomis here. He runs the asylum. He's a doctor. He's very, very similar to Dr. Loomis. Only this time he has 4 maniacs and not just one. He's not just Michael Myers. There's actually a quartet of psychos this time. So I thought this was very interesting. So yeah, you got 4 villains. Intriguing leads, a great cast, great main characters. Great acting all around. I found the villains, slightly more interesting than the good guys too. Of course, as a horror movie, go figure. I just found this movie very well done. Jack Sholder really outdid himself. I think it was also co-written by Robert Shea, who's also behind several of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It's basically the same team that worked on some Freddy stuff. So can't go wrong with that. This is, as I said, this isn't just this isn't like Prom Night or the Prowler or the Fun House or one of those. This is a lot more sophisticated, a lot more well done. It's kind of up there with the likes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. It's more in that level a little bit. It's a more more to it than just a body count and gratuitous nudity and just over the top gore and stuff. There's a lot more. This movie's a lot more than that, and I definitely appreciate it on that level. I think that was a very good idea. I think it's very well done. It's definitely a favorite of mine, and it's not like really obscure or anything. I mean, I guess it's well known. I guess horror fans know about it, but I still kind of find it very underrated and kind of neglected. People don't talk about this one a whole lot. I feel like it's it's a little underpraised. It doesn't get the recognition it deserves by any means. I think it's a lot decent. Alone in the Dark. When the lights go out, the terror begins. Now it's kind of suggested that the Ronald Elster, the fat pedo character I said, it's kind of hinted that he may have molested their youngest daughter. But they explain, they give a lengthy explanation that he didn't actually touch her. He didn't actually do anything. She took her nap. He pretends to be her babysitter, and it's such a creepy scene. God, pedophiles just make me want to go take a shower or something, and cut their balls off. I might add. But anyway, she shows her him see her, go into her house and seeing her and saying he's her babysitter, and then she's sleeping, and they don't show it happen. I don't think he did molest her. I think the movie wanted to make it clear that he didn't, because I guess I don't know, that'd be a little too much, which I agree. That's one of the only things that really offends me in movies is pedophiles. And so, I didn't really care for that whole thing. But again, as I said, he's a villain. You're supposed to be rooting against him. It's not like he's, a role model or anything. But I really hated that character, and I was really rooting for him to get killed. I couldn't wait for him to get his just desserts. The other guys I found kind of charming in a sick kind of way, especially Jack Palance. It's a very weird ending. The final frame, the final scene, and the way the movie closes, right before the end credits come on, it's what? It's what's going on? Those are pretty good soundtracks and pretty cool punk rock and metal songs. There's a couple scenes at this a pub with this pretty cool band's playing. I forget the name of the band, but I think there's a special feature on here. Oh, the Sick F-U-C-K. Yeah, the Sick Fucks and Adam Rockoff. I guess that's the name of the band in here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. This is a pretty cool DVD. It's got some good bonus features. Usually these kind of movies are bare bones and don't get diddly squat in their releases. I'm looking at you, Paramount. I prefer the VHS artwork with the person standing there and you see the axe blade. They're standing on top of a hill looking over the town, and you see their axe that they're holding. But what can you do? I probably should get this movie on VHS. Because I'm a completionist and a purist. So, great acting. Jack Palance and Martin Landau play great villains. Dwight Schultz plays a great lead and great protagonist. I thought it was great acting all around. I thought the characters were well done and fleshed out, very well written. It's not just a generic slasher with people dying here and there that you don't give a damn about, one-dimensional throwaway characters. It's nothing like that at all. This movie has a lot more to offer, as I said. And, Jack Sholder's a great director. He's done some really good movies. He hasn't done a whole lot, but the movies that he did do that were good were really good, so I have to praise him on that. Hopefully this movie never gets the remake treatment. There is a newer movie that came out in the early 2000s called Alone in the Dark, but that's not related to this at all. I think they fight monsters or demons or aliens or something. It's based on a video game series, actually, so it has nothing to do with this movie. It just happens to share the same title. Somebody just thought of the same title. Based on video games, so that's not related. So it hasn't been remade, despite popular belief. Some people do think that that movie with Christian Slater is a remake of this, but it's actually not. Oh, and Donald Pleasence is great in this movie too. Did I mention that already? Donald Pleasence, he's great in this movie. Just had to reiterate that several times. That guy's awesome. He's always great. Anyway, that covers it. Definitely, if you pop this in your DVD player, you're definitely in for a good time. You're going to find a very fun, entertaining slasher that also has a little more, than most do, and some compelling, well-written villains, and some good leads, and some pretty fun scenes. There's some good gore in it too. We got the slasher villain, we got the nasty, disgusting pedophile. We got the paranoid former army guy, and then the guy's a former preacher who goes around saying blasphemer, fornicator. We got it all. Every type of villain. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Instead of just one killer going around offing people, it's 4. Get more for your money. All right, guys. Well, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my Midnight Spook show, and until next time, definitely check out Alone in the Dark. You will not be disappointed.